Well, millions of visitors are flocking to Las Vegas to spend their time and money on the Las Vegas Strip. But if you're a Las Vegas local, you know that there's a lot more to experience. I'm Rachel Moore, and welcome to How to Vegas, your weekly guide to Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. In the next 30 minutes, we'll tell you about places and things that locals can enjoy, including what's spooky with the Freakling Brothers, the beauty on display at the historic National Park, and what outdoor activities for you and your fur buddies can enjoy. Let's get started. And as we all know, summer heat can be brutal in Las Vegas for humans and our pets. But cooler fall weather is finally here, and 13 Action News' Jason Denant has some ideas that you and your fur babies can enjoy together.
In this week's Vegas Like a Local, now that the weather has cooled off in Southern Nevada, it's time to bring out your four-legged friends and enjoy all that Las Vegas has to offer. In this week, I'm calling it Vegas Like a Dog Owner. Hot pavement is one thing all dog owners have to check for in Las Vegas. This time of year, that is less likely. I spoke with Kathy Brooks, a dog trainer with Hydrant Club in downtown Las Vegas, and she said,
if it's going to be a warm day, probably doesn't hurt just to test it, just to be safe. And if you're walking your dog, not just standing on the sidewalk at this point, that should be all right.
Clark County parks like Desert Breeze and Spring Valley have wonderful dog park facilities throughout the county. But make sure your dog is ready for the dog park.
So know thy dog. That's really the most important thing, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're going.
Kathy went on to say to let your dog test the dog parks out first when they're less crowded, to let them get the lay of the land and feel more comfortable. Visit ktnv.com for a list of dog parks in the Las Vegas area. Did you know Town Square is pet friendly? The green at Town Square is a great place to take your pup to play, and there are many restaurant patios that allow your four-legged buddy. One of those is Lazy Dog. Tip alert, they even have a dog menu with chicken or hamburger with rice and veggies. My pup Zeus loves this place. Looking for an adventure day with your pup? Try heading to Calico Basin near Red Rock Canyon. The current temperatures make for a nice time hiking or checking out the picnic area and boardwalk. Now, dogs must be leashed here, so plan accordingly. During the summer months, the heat can just be too much here. But during the cooler months, there are some things you need to think about before heading out for that hike.
You have different things that are blooming if you take your dog out into Red Rock, or you go to Mount Charleston or some of the public dog parks. You want to think about things like, are there plants here that my dog maybe shouldn't be chewing on? If I see my dog chewing on something in a park, I want to make sure I know what it is.
Just because it's cool outside, Kathy Brooks with Hydrant Club left me with one other great reminder for this time of year.
You still shouldn't be leaving your dog in the car. So don't leave your dog in the car. I don't care if it's in the shade. I don't care if the windows are open. Now, if you're out at night these days, so if I go out at 8 o'clock at night to run to Walgreens and run an errand, when the sun is down and it's dropped to 50 degrees is what we've had in this last week, different story. Crack the windows, run inside, run back out, different story. But during the day, leave your dog at home.
Whether you're taking your dog for a hike out in nature, a walk downtown, or a local dog park, enjoy your time outside and explore our awesome city. Jason Denant, 13 Action News.
Fall temperatures have arrived here in Southern Nevada, and that means the colors are changing at our very own Spring Mountain Ranch State Park. 13 Action News' Jordan Gartner shows you the beauty that's on display just outside the city.
Just beyond the bright lights of the Las Vegas Valley, you'll find the natural beauty of the Spring Mountains. And that's where you'll see the historic Spring Mountain Ranch State Park.
Spring Mountain Ranch State Park is a 528-acre state park. We are a day-use only facility, and we focus on the historic preservation of one of the original ranch sites of Las Vegas.
The voice of the park, Josh Yale, says the ranch gives visitors a break from the city life while bringing them up close and personal with the Spring Mountain Range.
We have a total of about 4.5 miles of walking trails in the park, which encompass 3 trails essentially. We have the Ash Grove Loop, which explores the eastern edge of our property, takes you through that a large grove of ash trees, very nice trail any given time of year. Good spot for bird viewing, especially birds of prey. We also have two other trails. One of them, called the Overlook, takes you to the small bluff of rock behind me that's just above that line of oak trees in the foreground. That Overlook trail starts in the parking lot, and it's a pretty easy walk, about 1.25 miles, and it takes you to a really unique feature. It's called a paleo channel. It's an ancient riverbed. It's been petrified over millions and millions of years. And then the third and final trail is our canyon trail, Sandstone Canyon, which does encompass and incorporate Lake Harriet.
The park is an easy 40-minute drive from the Las Vegas Strip with plenty of natural beauty on display, being next door to the famous Red Rock National Conservation Area.
We are located in the beautiful Red Rock Canyon. You can see behind me that's Mount Wilson, the tallest peak in the Red Rock Escarpment at 7,070 feet. And we are surrounded not only by the beautiful scenery that the sandstone and the limestone provides, but also wonderful greenery. You'll notice behind me it's quite lush.
With year-round recreational activities, the state park serves as a popular getaway.
Any time of year is great as far as seasons go. Every season has a different opportunities. This is a great place to escape the heat of Las Vegas. On average, we're 10 degrees cooler than the city, sometimes even more in the right conditions. And it's a beautiful place to really get to experience some of the beauty that the desert provides.
Visitors can enjoy the views, but also enjoy picnics, hikes, and tours, along with exploring some of Southern Nevada's history.
We afford visitors here a look into the past, and that is something that here in Las Vegas we don't have a lot left. A lot of our local history is made way for newer buildings and newer structures. Unfortunately, our neighbor Bonnie Springs suffered that fate recently, but lucky for us, the third oldest ranch is still preserved in what is essentially pristine condition.
The park is home to some of the oldest buildings in the state, with roots dating back to 1860s, that include a blacksmith shop and a founding main house that serves as the headquarters for the park and visitor center.
Our visitor center is a sandstone building primarily, and it is built in the style of a New England farm home. Built in 1948 by a wealthy radio and movie star named Chester Locke, this was his vacation home. He was a busy man in Hollywood, had an active career, so this was a place that he would come with his family to escape, which is something that any family can do today.
Visitors can walk through the historic sandstone cabin and revisit what the home once looked like with some original furnishings and touches from the different eras and owners.
The house is split essentially into 3 different owners. We have the Chester Locke era, which is what you'll see right when you walk in the front door, and that represents 1948 to 1955. He is again the man who builds the home in 1948. And then we have a master bedroom as well as a swimmer's room, and then the secret room, which are all in the style of Vera Krupp, who owns the ranch from 1955 to 1967. And then the final room, one of the smaller rooms in the home, is dedicated to the Howard Hughes period of ownership.
The historic ranch attracted some big names through its history, from James Wilson and George Anderson at the beginning, to German movie star Vera Krupp in the 1950s, to Howard Hughes purchasing the ranch in 1967, before it actually became a state park in 1974.
Later owners, including the German movie actress Vera Krupp, create additions to the home, including a swimming pool on the back porch, 2 enclosed spaces which now are a display room for exhibits, and one is the gift shop. And inside the building you'll get to see different exhibits that explore the lives of the people who called this ranch home.
When it comes to outdoor activities, the park has several hiking trails, all offering its own experience, from the wetlands to the overlook to even a lake.
We have on our property about 5 different ecologic zones that visitors can enjoy. We're also home to some of the oldest ash trees in the state of Nevada, as well as some of the largest groves of those said ash trees. It's a pretty remarkable feature that you won't find anywhere else in the Red Rock Canyon. So on any given day, walking through all 3 of our trails will provide you with a really unique experience that other parts of Red Rock really can't provide.
When you or the family need a quick getaway to a more relaxing time with Southern Nevada's beauty and history on display, make sure to include the Spring Mountain State Park. Reporting, Jordan Gartner, 13 Action News.
Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot more of How to Vegas after the break. Welcome back to How to Vegas, your weekly look at what to see, do, and taste in Las Vegas. For more on things to do around the valley, visit ktmv.com/things to do. Well, the glitz and glam of Hollywood and the lights of Las Vegas go hand in hand, and Vegas plays a big part in a lot of major movies and shows, whether it's the city itself or the people who come from it. Film critic Josh Bell shows us some of the latest movies with a local connection and a look at a Vegas film festival that's making its digital return.
I'm Josh Bell with a look at the latest Vegas connections on screen. First up is the revival series CSI Vegas, with new episodes streaming weekly on Paramount+. The original CSI, set in Las Vegas and created by UNLV graduate Anthony Zuiker, ran for 15 seasons, ending in 2015, and is one of the longest-running and most popular TV crime dramas of all time. Original stars William Peterson and Georgia Fox return for the new version, which features their characters solving a season-long mystery connected to the old CSI team, while new characters solve individual episodic cases. As before, most of the show is shot in California, but the first few episodes feature a good amount of location work in downtown Las Vegas. The new show doesn't change up anything from the old formula, delivering a familiar comfort food crime procedural with a conception of Vegas that's a mix of superficial and sensitive. It's the same old CSI in the same old Vegas. That's CSI Vegas, streaming weekly on Paramount+. From Vegas to New York City, former Las Vegas journalist Julie Seabaugh makes her directorial debut with the documentary Too Soon, Comedy After 9/11, which is streaming via Vice TV and on Vice's YouTube channel. It's a comprehensive look at how the comedy world found its voice after the 9/11 attacks and helped audiences heal from tragedy, featuring interviews with some of the biggest names in comedy, including Las Vegas regulars like Jeff Ross, Gilbert Gottfried, and Doug Stanhope. That's Too Soon, now available from Vice TV. Recently showcased at Sin City Horror Fest is Die Influencers Die, now available for video-on-demand rental. This Las Vegas production takes a playful approach to its slasher movie story about a group of self-centered social media influencers set up for slaughter. Vegas filmmaker Gary Arona has worked in the adult industry for decades, and he combines a cast of adult film stars including Katie Morgan with special effects from renowned visual effects artist and Boulder City resident Tom Devlin. That's Die Influencers Die, now on VOD. And finally, the Las Vegas Queer Arts Film Festival returns this weekend with an online edition, October 15th through 18th. All of the movies in the festival feature LGBTQ talent and or LGBTQ stories with messages that matter to the community. The result is a diverse slate of short films and one feature film highlighting the variety in LGBTQ filmmaking, including a program of local shorts. Festival passes are $20 and available at lvqueerarts.com. For more movie talk from me, check out Awesome Movie Year, the podcast I co-host with comedian Jason Harris, at awesomemovieyear.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot more of How to Vegas after the break. Welcome back to How to Vegas, your weekly look at what to see, do, and taste in Las Vegas. For more on things to do around the valley, visit ktmv.com/things to do. Melinda Shekels of offthestrip.com shares what spots are trending for good bites anytime in this week's Vegas Eats. This week, Melinda takes us on a tour of the tangy, juicy, ripe side of the valley in pursuit of the greatest tomatoes from Europe and where to get them for National Pasta Day, which is October 17th.
Hi, this is Melinda Shekels, and this is Vegas Eats on How to Vegas. And this week, we are taking a tasty tour of the Las Vegas Valley with the greatest tomatoes from Europe in honor of National Pasta Day, which is Sunday, October 17th. So National Pasta Day definitely tastes as good as it sounds, which is a day filled with eating the very best pastas. Now, whether it's spaghetti, rigatoni, ravioli, or any kind of orecchiette, any kind of pasta that you like. Pasta can actually be good for you. So we know it's often associated with heavy carb-laden meals, but it actually is very high in minerals and vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin C, has a lot of good, healthy benefits if eaten in moderation. Now, the best way to pair pasta is with the greatest tomatoes from Europe. I was learning about these tomatoes on a recent trip to Italy. They are, in fact, Italian canned tomatoes. And you can get this amazing product all over the valley at some very special restaurants, and you can also make it at home. So this week, if you want to get a great taste for National Pasta Day of an amazing dish out there, head to Bloom over in Henderson. Now, Bloom has a fantastic dish that uses whole plum tomatoes in their vegan bolognese, their spaghetti, and their meatballs, as well as their meatball appetizer. So they use these greatest tomatoes from Europe in several of their dishes. So at Bloom, try the penne rosa, which is whole plum tomatoes, Parmesan, cream, garlic, and chives. Now you can check this out over in Henderson. Now on the other side of town, Dolce and Chianti is an amazing restaurant that also serves these greatest tomatoes from Europe via Italian canned tomatoes. And their very special dish, which can be enjoyed on National Pasta Day or any other day of the week, is the Ciao Pomodoro di Napoli, and it's made with house sauce, basil, and ricotta. I actually had a chance to visit Ciao Pomodoro and see how their canned tomatoes are made, and it was quite something. They are actually completely sustainable and good for you, and it was a very interesting process all the way around. Now you can check these products out, obviously, at our local restaurants, or you can also buy and make some amazing pasta at home. And you can check out those recipes on the Greatest Tomatoes from Europe website, where they have a host of number of different recipes for you to try. And you can buy the product all over town at Whole Foods, make it at home, and other specialty grocery stores. This has been Melinda Shackles for Vegas Eats on How to Vegas, and tune in next week for all of the great eats around the valley.
Don't go anywhere. We still have a lot more of How to Vegas after the break. Welcome back to How to Vegas, your weekly look at what to see, do, and taste in Las Vegas. For more on things to do around the valley, visit ktmv.com/things to do. Well, it's haunted house season in Las Vegas, and 13 Action News' Amy Abdelsied spoke to the father-son duo behind Freakling Brothers. It's one of the city's most recognized yearly attractions, and you're about to find out what they do in their real lives and how that translates into creating R-rated experiences so spooky.
JT Malner will be the first to tell you.
It's not for everybody.
He and his dad, Duke, are the duo behind Freakling Brothers horror shows.
Kind of a local favorite.
They've been making haunted attractions in Las Vegas for decades.
My dad and my older brother started the company in 1992.
And locals know Freakling Brothers is no joke.
It's all about really realistic and disturbing content. Having something happen to you rather than watching a scene.
What started as a prank to spook trick-or-treaters has evolved into one of the scariest Halloween attractions, not only in Vegas, but in the United States.
A few years ago, all of a sudden we started getting recognized on these lists. USA Today ranked us #1 in the country. CNN put us on their top 5 in the country list. Fox News put us on their top 10 in the country list. Scare Zone ranked us #1 in the Western US. Top Haunts ranked us top 5 in the world.
Freakling Brothers has the only R-rated haunt in Nevada.
I wanted to rate it R so people would understand that walking into it was the same experience as watching a hardcore, hard R, rated R horror film.
JT says it's a self-imposed rating, but if anyone knows a thing or two about creating an R-rated experience, it's him.
A few years back that I ended up directing my first feature called Outlaws and Angels.
As a filmmaker, JT says a lot of what he does on set translates into creating these terrifying worlds that people step into every October.
Enter the gates of hell!
Doing this with the actors we have here at the haunted houses is very similar to directing a film. I mean, we consider it interactive theater more than a traditional haunted house. That's why we call ourselves Freakling Brothers Horror Shows.
For each actor they hire, they write unique characters and scripts just like for a movie.
When the season starts, we hold a casting session. We look at hundreds of people, and we choose who the best 45 to 50 are, and then I work with them.
All of the characters are made by and for Freakling Brothers, so you won't find a generic Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger at their haunts.
The people who come here take it very, very seriously, and we take it seriously.
And although he's busy directing films and commercials in LA most of the year, JT says he blocks off 2 months every year to make sure he can come home and do this with his family.
And it's been really lucky, though. I've been able to be here every season since I started managing an attraction for my dad back in 2003. So it's a tradition every Halloween.
A tradition his dad started more than 40 years ago.
My name is Duke Molnar. I am a Baccarat dealer at the Bellagio in real life, and I run Freakling Brothers haunted attractions in my imaginary wonderful life.
The business began in 1992 when Freakling Brothers introduced the city's first freestanding haunted attraction inside self-contained trailers. But before that, Duke's Haunted Empire was born at his home on Halloween night while the family was giving out candy to trick-or-treaters.
One year I decided to try and do something a little more intense, maybe scare some of the kids before we gave them some candy.
He built a coffin and dressed up as Dracula.
I had a stake in my chest. I told my wife, we're going to put the coffin in the entry hall. I'm going to be laying in it. And I want you to tell the children your treat is in the coffin on Dracula's chest.
To go along with the scheme, he put candy on his chest like he was a prop.
Well, sure enough, the kids started coming.
Duke recalls chasing the kids around his neighborhood all night long. Even adults were stopping by to see what was going on.
I remember chasing one lady a block and a half down our street before I came back. I don't think she ever got over it. But it was an awful lot of fun for us.
Word got around and Duke and his family became legends. Their house was the place to be every year on Halloween. And to this day, Duke says that's still what he loves the most about making haunted attractions.
Listening to and seeing grown-ups come running down the exit, screaming the daylights out of themselves. I can't tell you what an exciting pleasure that is. And it keeps happening. So I'm going to be here a while.
Last year, Freakling Brothers took a hiatus because of the pandemic, but they're back this year with 3 haunted attractions to explore. And they're doing something they haven't done before.
We've transitioned into a horror park environment.
This year, 1 ticket gets you in, and you can walk through the haunted houses as many times as you like. COVID protocols are in place, and everyone, including the actors, are required to wear masks. If you don't have one, JT says they'll give you one for free. Make sure to visit ktv.com for ticket information. For How to Vegas, I'm Amy Abdelsayed.
Well, thanks for watching How to Vegas. If you missed any part of this week's program, just hit the back button on your remote and scroll down until you see KTMV Digital Exclusives. There you'll find this show and all of our dedicated streaming content. Stay tuned